All right, welcome out to UFC 265, right? 365 Sports Unlimited, where we talk UFC. So I got my sidekick, Val Florian, with me this Sunday evening. Val, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Yes, sir. Now, we couldn't come in last week. We got busy. Your schedule, my schedule. We try to reschedule during the week, and it just didn't work out. So we're gonna try to do a better job. But sometimes our schedules just don't allow us. I'm available. You're not. You're available. I'm not. So, but we are back this Sunday. We are going to talk UFC 265. Listen, it's coming up this weekend. It's in Houston. I believe it's the Toyota Center. We've got a lot to talk about. We do have these ladies right here behind me. I was really looking forward to watching this fight. Amanda Nunes, we all know who she is and how bad she is. But I've seen Juliana Pena, Val, a couple of fights, and she's impressive to me. Now, I didn't think that she could beat Amanda this go around, but this is going to be a lady I think that is going to make a big name for herself in the UFC. But we'll get to what happened. The fight will not take place at UFC 265. When Val will talk about that later on as to what happened and why they were scratched off the card and who has been scratched off. So Val, if you're ready, I do got the UFC 265 main event or the main card. People are going to fight in the main card. And so if you're ready, we can go with the first one. It's a Bantaweight bout. It's between, I hope I get the names right here, YaDong and Casey Kenny. I hope I got the names right. You want to break that fight down for us?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was right. Yeah, YaDong, Casey Kenny. This fight is going to be amazing. You know, I believe this fight's going to be a bantamweight fight. Think about the bantamweights, man. These guys are fast, lightning fast, got good, quick mobility. You know that these dudes are going to bring it, maybe small, right? But don't count them out. Everybody says, oh, the heavyweights are going to do this and that. But don't forget about these little guys. That's why we're here to break it down right now. So these guys, they're coming off of a loss. Casey, he's gonna have the reach here, but YaDong, he's gonna have to adapt to who he is fighting. Kenny, he's going to be the more experienced, but we can't count YaDong out here. He does have some power in his shots. YaDong, he's gonna try to set up some strikes against Kenny. YaDong, he's also got some good submission. He has a submission win. He has a couple of TKOs. Both of these guys, cardio, conditioning, pretty good. This matchup right here should be great. YaDong, he's had some finishes, but Casey, not so much. Casey, he's won a few decisions. We know he can go the distance. I believe Casey will probably try to shoot for the knockout here. Casey, he might also go for a takedown if YaDong end up piecing him up. I feel like this fight could be mostly standing. If YaDong can land some precise shots, I feel like Kenny might try to wrestle here, but I feel like this one is really gonna be good. I feel like Kenny will try to almost be, in a way, kind of motivated. And if you look at his decisions here, he hasn't really finished anybody, and so YaDong has. So people might sway for YaDong, say, hey, we know he can knock somebody out. We know he can get behind, take somebody's back, get him in an armbar, get him in some type of submission. He's got good jiu-jitsu locks, but I feel like Casey, this is the breaking point. I feel like for him right now, he is saying, hey, I'm gonna get this finish and I'm gonna do. I feel like we're gonna see him try to maybe keep it on the feet here. And YaDong, with him being of Asian descent, I feel like those guys, they're always striking and they love to strike. So I feel like YaDong would probably strike before he turns into a wrestler, before he turns into a grappler. So we're gonna see how this one starts. I expect these guys to swing pretty good. Yeah, this one's gonna be great.
Hey Val, what's their rankings? I don't have their rankings up here. I'm looking at my monitor, but I don't have their rankings. What's YaDong? What's his ranking? Do you know?
He's not in the ranking. Neither is Casey.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys are off the charts, but don't let that fool you because these guys are in the main card. They're in the main card for the reason. These guys got the skills to show off. These guys got the talent. UFC promotion feels like, hey, these guys have what it takes to put on a good show. And I feel like that's what we're going to get. Bantamweights, might be little guys, but I'll tell you what, these guys are going to come out like lightning.
Well, we shall see come this weekend. We've got another one. This is the women's bantamweight bout between ranked number 10, Tecia Torres, and number 12, Angela Hill. What can you tell us about these two ladies?
This one is in the rankings. This one's gonna be awesome. You know, we got Ted Torres. She coming in at number 10. Angelina Hill, not too far off. She's in number 12. Tessa Torres, her record is 12-5, not too bad. Angelina Hill, a little bit worse, but don't let that fool you either. I mean, this girl, she is fast. She does have good mobility, good footwork. I just believe she's had a lot of, maybe had some bad fights, but she has learned, and she can be aggressive, and she's definitely learned to come back and say, I learned from these mistakes. Ain't whatever she lost from this, she ain't gonna lose from those past fights. Her record's 13-9. This is gonna be a great fight. You know, Torres has got some well-rounded skills. I mean, she's won by TKO. She won by submission. She won by decisions. I mean, her endurance is great. She's got a decent record. She'll be looking to add another win on here, but Angelina is no joke, right? She's explosive and she's gritty. She's willing to take fights into the deep waters and really have a scrap with her opponents. I mean, she's going to have a reach advantage here by 4 inches, you know? So, I mean, she should be able to start establishing distance, establishing range very early on. I expect Hill to come out guns blazing, ready to try to put it on Torres, try to get her record up, you know, because her record's not too well. Both these girls have good accuracy, good conditioning. Hill has wins by TKO. She's got some decision wins. An interesting thing about this fight is that it's actually a rematch. These girls fought in 2015, believe it or not, right? Torres won that fight via decision. So these girls have already faced each other before. Now, mind you, this was 6 years ago, so you have to account for that. In that gap, that 6-year gap, both these girls have learned skills and have adapted, changed their fighting. You know, one fighter may not be the same fighter that they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. So there's a lot of things that happened in that window that they were able to learn and to do and to press them in their career forward, right? So but Torres won that fight by decision. Now they're going to be fighting again. You know, their striking volume, that last fight, it was pretty close. You know, it's pretty close. Torres had 2 takedowns, which definitely went into consideration. You know, those 2 takedowns definitely had a part of her winning for sure because the striking was so close. Those takedowns, that edge that she had in the grappling put her over. That's what put her over that she needed to win, right? So, I mean, I feel like Hill, I don't think she had any takedown attempts on that one, but that doesn't mean that she won't shoot for one this time around, you know, because I believe that she does. I was looking at some of her records. I think she does have some takedowns here and there. But I believe Hill is going to come in aggressive and she's going to try to take control. But if Torres can outstrike her, maybe make Hill attempt a takedown, I think Hill will come out quick. So Torres will have to be ready to set up counter strikes against Hill. You know, once she gets Hill's timing, I think she'll be ready to start to deliver some offense. Both these girls have good counter strikes. Both these girls can put the pressure on. I'm interested to see how this fight's going because if Torres wants to go down the pipe, she can. If Angelina wants to go straight forward and try to get the control, get the aggression right away, she can. It's interesting to see who is going to take that step. So who's going to be the first one to say, I'm taking control, I'm taking the gauge, who's going to be on the step back? You know, I feel like these girls, they always put on great fights. You know, some people say the women's fights, they show up some of the guys' fights sometimes, you know. I feel like this fight can be one of them, you know. Angelina Hill, she's fast, she's quick. Torres is ready to bring it on too. This one's going to be a scrap for sure.
Hey, this one wasn't, these girls were just added on. Is this because Munhoz and Pena were scratched off? Were these
Most
girls
likely.
just added on just this past week?
I'm pretty sure because I don't remember seeing these guys on here. It was I think Jose Aldo and Pedro Munhoz, they were I think number 3, and then Chiesa was number 2. But then Chiesa and them went up, and then they added Torres and Hill. They might have been in the preliminaries, like maybe the mid preliminaries. Because I think they're a little bit too big to be on the early prelims, so they could have possibly been taken for the preliminaries, put into the main card.
That's hey, somebody loses and then next people, if I get a spot, and they want to be in this main event spot, right? Everybody does. That's what you're fighting hard for, to get up here and get more recognition. Listen, the next one we've got on UFC 265, number 5, Michael Chiesa This is the welterweight bout going up against Vincente Luque. And I do want, before you break this fight down for us, I do want you guys to know this is the final week that the bout will, and that's will be on before the fight UFC takes place, which means that we will be making our predictions. And I have said in the past podcast that this will be the first time that I'm going to be making my predictions on these fights as well. So how well do I know UFC? Not as well as I would like, Val, but I'm getting there. So we are going to make our predictions before the night is out. So back to breaking this fight down. Michael Tecia, Vincente Luque. What can you tell us about these guys? Michael's ranked number 5. Vincente just won back number 6.
Yeah, this one's going to be really great. I mean, wonderful, wonderful matchup, if I can say so. We got Michael Tecia coming in number 5. He's 18-4. Vincente Luque, he got 20 wins, 7 losses, one no contest. I think this one's going to be a great match. You know, these guys, they're so close in the rankings, right? I mean, Luque, just one step back. He wins this one. He gets another. He'll probably take his place. Michael Chiesa, not too much to lose here. If he loses this one, he maybe takes a step back, but that's not guaranteed because with the way that they set the rankings, he could go 1 or 2 or 3. You just never know, right? With the way all this stuff works. But for here, it doesn't look like he's got too much to lose. But still, the whole goal is to progress forward, get to that title, get to that championship. Kamaru Usman, that's the man that these both guys are trying to take on right here. They got to go through each other to get to that top champion. So we're going to break this down right now. You know, Chiesa, he's going to be the older. He's about 33 years, you know, not too far behind there. Vincente Luque, he's 29, not too far off. This is going to be a super technical fight. And I mean, capital T, technical. Expect striking, expect some wrestling, expect some grappling, everything, the whole works. Chiesa, he's pretty technical with his striking and his grappling offense. He has been submitted in the past, but he's learned from his past mistakes. You know, Chiesa, he has wins by submission. He has wins by decision. You know, Michael, he's crafty. He has a few tricks up his sleeve. You know, I bet Chiesa will stand maybe in the beginning of the fight before he starts to look for a takedown. You know, I can't see Chiesa standing with Luque too much. Luque has very heavy hands and Luque has knockout power. Luque has a lot of TKO wins. Chiesa will have to respect the hands of Luque. Luque doesn't just have the striking, but he can grapple should he need to. He just submitted a former UFC champion, Tyrone Woodley, in March of this year. That's no easy feat. So that's his only submission win. However, most of his wins are from TKO, so you can expect the power in his hands. You can expect Luque to want to keep this fight on the feet, not get with too much technical grappling with Chiesa, even though he can, should it get that far in the fight. I feel like he'll probably try to stand first. His grappling will probably be in the back burner. I don't think he'll want to try to grapple with Michael Chiesa, maybe just yet. If Luque starts to grapple with him the first minute, I'm gonna be like, wow, it's crazy. You know, but what I can expect is for Luque to keep this on the feet. Considering Chiesa doesn't have any TKOs or KOs yet, he's coming into this fight winning his last 4 fights by decision and won by submission. So Luque will most likely want to keep it standing, pick apart Chiesa, maybe force him to try to take down, come into something, time it to where he can come into a big strike. I think Luque is going to be better in the striking department. So in order for Chiesa to make things go his way, he'll have to use feints. He'll have to use feints in his stand-up, make Luque get a reaction, threaten with leg kicks, threaten with hand strikes, try to put the hands in Luque's face to get him to commit to a strike. So once Luque does commit to something big, Chiesa can catch him off guard, land a successful takedown. So I think the story of this fight is who is going to do it better. Is Luque going to keep this standing and his takedown defense going to hold up? Or is Michael Chiesa going to put the hands in the face, just an illusion, try to look for a timing and rhythm to take him down? Well, you know, we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, Val. And then, of course, we go to the co-main event of UFC 265, which is number 5, Jose Aldo, going up against number 9, Pedro Munhoz. What can you tell us about these guys?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about these guys, a lot to say. So I'll try to talk not too fast, but enough for y'all guys to understand. I have a lot to say about this one because Jose Aldo, such a legend, you know. I mean, this guy been around for a long time. Thing about these guys, you know, they're both the same age, but this one, I really do feel like Jose Aldo's got just a little bit craftier, a little bit veteran-ness in the fights than Munhoz does. I do think Munhoz is aggressive. I think he's going to come out aggressive. I think he's going to come out strong. I do believe he wants it, but Aldo, you know, he's already been there. He's done that. He's been the champion in the featherweight, you know. So now he's coming down to coming down to bantamweight, trying to take on Pedro Munhoz. We're going to start these guys off at 135 pounds, bantamweight. Jose Aldo, number 5 in the rankings, pretty close to the champion right there. Pedro Munhoz, not too far behind. He's number 9. Jose Aldo definitely got more to lose. If Jose Aldo lose, he's looking at dropping down a few numbers, you know, about 4. Could be more, you know, you don't want it. Jose Aldo is definitely going to have more to lose here. So Pedro Munhoz is going to look in to take this spot. This fight has fireworks written all over it. You can expect nothing less than a war with these guys. You don't want to blink with this one. Both these guys are lightning fast. Both like to put on the pressure. So it's interesting to see who will be the aggressor in this fight. Pedro Munhoz is good at delivering massive strikes. He has few TKO wins, also has a few submissions, so he can do both, you know, strike when he wants to strike, set something up with some angles, coming out, doing some feints, or he could grapple. Say, man, what if he's getting pieced up? He's like, I'm gonna grapple now. Or he wants to try to fake a takedown, try to come up over the top. We don't know what they're gonna try to do. So this is gonna be great because he can do both, and they can do both. So it's going to be good. Munhoz, very dangerous for Aldo. He can strike when he needs to, or he can do some grappling. Aldo likes to keep it on the feet. Aldo is a great striker. Any target this man can hit. Pedro could try to stand with Aldo, see where the striking leads. Munhoz wants to challenge himself. So I'd like to think that he would keep this fight standing. Feel out in the first round, try to get some rhythms, try to get some timing of Jose Aldo, try to see what how Jose Aldo is going to react to his feint, to his footwork. He's going to try to beat Jose Aldo to the punch. And if Aldo decides to press the pace, Munhoz could counter, so Aldo would have to be careful. This is a great test in front of him because Aldo is the former featherweight champion. He made a move to bantamweight at the end of 2019. He lost his first 2 bantamweight fights, but finally got a win over Marlon Vera last December. Vera's a very good fighter. So with that win over him, that's what Aldo needed to get that confidence, get that to make that move, to get to say, hey, I can make it in the 135-pound division. You know, he lost those first 2 fights. Kind of, he could probably say, oh, maybe it was bantamweight a good idea or not, because I had heard throughout the years, you know, because he was in featherweight for so long, throughout the years, people were saying, Aldo, you got to move down, you know, maybe that might be better if you moved. But then, you know, but finally he did it. And, you know, he may have tripped a couple of times, but this 3rd fight with Vera, he came out and, you know, he was able to get out the win. So now mentally he says, hey, I finally got the win. I can do this now. So I feel like mentally, I feel like Aldo is back in the game and he's ready to do this. I think he's happy with his last performance. Maybe, you know, the fighters are never as happy as they could be, right? But I think he is. I think Jose Aldo, he's still crafty. He's still slick. He's still that sly, quick fighter that he was in the featherweight division. Now that he has a win in bantamweight, he knows it's possible to stop Munhoz. I think he's got losses, 2 fights in the new division. Yeah, two fights in the new division could wear on a conscience, right? But I mean, he's ready now. You know, now this is going to mentally put him over the top. These guys are both the same age, like I said before, but I can't help but think Aldo's going to be the craftier, sneakier, more experienced. You know, like I said, Aldo's got tricks up his sleeves that he's learned from his experiences, that he's learned from losses. He utilizes them well. He sets things up. Aldo, he has amazing footwork. He has amazing mobility. Aldo will put things in your face, just a distraction, before he lands with another strike that you didn't see coming. You know, he just knows how to do that math. He knows how to be technical with he can strike and know where the next one's gonna hit. You know, it's all about in the fighting, it's all about being one step ahead in the striking. And Aldo has perfected it and mastered this. Any target he can hit. I can imagine Munhoz gonna come out more aggressive at first. Aldo, he's already been at the top in UFC. And he knows how a loss feels. Every loss Aldo learns, he gets better, he recovers from it. Aldo knows how this fight is gonna be. With an opponent like Munhoz, Aldo cannot take him lightly, and I'm sure he doesn't. I feel Munhoz wants it enough that he'll attempt to take control. He'll attempt to lead the pace in the beginning, at least, because Aldo will have to cut Pedro off. Aldo will have to meet Pedro with shots every time he comes in. That way Pedro doesn't think, oh, I can just get close to him. No, he's going to have to make him pay for coming in. So he's going to have to hit him with something. Every time he comes in, he's going to have to shoot him with something or hit him with something. Pedro will try to advance on the feet, come in hard, but I think Aldo can cut off Pedro's offense, counter, turn it around for his favor. I think in the beginning, Pedro would try to lead the fight. Aldo's a veteran. He's crafty. The longer this fight goes, the deeper rounds that this fight goes, I think it's looking good for Aldo.
Well, it's going to be a good co-main event. Listen, before we get to the main event, Val, you see these two ladies behind me, right? Amanda Nunes, Pena, Juliana Pena. Listen, I was really looking forward to this. I thought Amanda would win. I mean, I just think she's the better, the stronger opponent, right? But Juliana Pena, in the fights I've seen, man, she's impressed me. I mean, I'm starting to like her fighting. I think it was too early for her to beat Amanda Nunes. Of course, you never know, right? But I thought that this would be a good match for Juliana because she needed to get to feel Amanda's power. Because I think that, if Amanda wins, pretty much Juliana's going to get another title, another shot somewhere down the line, whether Amanda's champion or not. These girls are going to fight. These ladies are going to fight again. Mm-hmm. But because of a situation that I'll let you explain, they were scratched off. Something happened, so they were scratched off. They have been rescheduled. They're scheduled to fight somewhere down the line. Can you talk a little bit about this fight? Kind of explain to the followers that follow the 365 why this match was scratched out and when is their fight scheduled for?
Yeah, this was very unfortunate, man. We were all looking forward for Amanda Nunes. I mean, she's a beautiful fighter. She has got amazing strikes. She just knows how to set things up. One can't help but think she was probably going to win this fight. Now, I say probably, we don't know. Juliana could have surprised everybody. I do think you're onto something. I do think that Juliana, this could be a blessing in disguise maybe for both Amanda and Juliana. Maybe for Juliana, she could have more time to prepare, but I also do think that she does need to feel the power. She does need to feel what Amanda can bring, right? Just so I think the person that's going to defeat Amanda in the future, should she get defeated, I think the person that would defeat her would be somebody that's tasted her before, somebody that felt her power, somebody that felt her grappling, somebody that knows what to do. This fight got taken off, man. It was great. It was going to be the co-main event. Just wanted to say a little something about, Amanda and stuff before I got into it. But yeah, this fight got taken off because Amanda got tested positive for COVID. Very unfortunate. Now they're really cracking down on this COVID thing with these fighters, and we're having fights get canceled in the same day as the fight. So here people are looking forward to fights for weeks, maybe a month or two, and then it could we're hit with this reality that the fight could be scrapped the day of or something. In this case, it wasn't the day of, but it was about a week before. So very, very unfortunate. She got scrapped for COVID. They took off the fight. So now Amanda, she did release a statement. She said, she said, hey, she was ready according to Amanda, she says she was ready for the fight. She was prepared for Juliana Pena, and she was ready to defend the title. This would have been her first bantamweight defense in, I think, in a couple of years. She had been fighting in the featherweight, now, so she's moving down 10 pounds to the bantamweight, so that way she does, because if she doesn't defend that title, it could get stripped. So she's gotta, because the way the contract's set up, they have to have so many fights a year, they have to defend these, they have to defend, that or whatever. So with that one, it just got scrapped. They did say, hey, they're going to reschedule this, no worries. So like I said, this kind of goes back before, now Amanda has more time to prepare, if she needed it. Now Juliana can say, hey, I have more time to prepare. In the end of the day, I do think she's going to have to feel her power. I do think she's going to have to see what kind of skills she's got. We already know what kind of skills she's got, but until you're actually in there with her, you're going to have to feel that. I do think the woman that's going to put her down is going to be somebody that's fought her before. I just think that's just how how it's going to be. I did do some research. There is no official word yet on when they're going to fight, but they are talking about December. They want to fight in December, but that's just them wanting to fight. Nothing has been official. So we can kind of look forward to December until further notice.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. This is going to be a good one. And like I said, I don't think it's just going to be one and done for either one of them. If Juliana wins, that's great. I like both of these ladies. But if Juliana does not win when this fight is scheduled, I think you will see these two ladies back in the octagon again at some point in the future. And then we go to our main event of the night, UFC 265, number 2, Derrick Lewis. This is the heavyweight title bout against number 3, Ciryl Gane. Who do you have? Well, actually, not who do you have, but break this one down for us. We'll do the predictions later on in the show.
Yeah, this one's going to be another long one too, kind of like how Aldo was. I mean, I have a lot to say about these guys, especially if not maybe more than the co-main, because these are the main events. We got to talk this one up. This one is the one with all the fireworks. This one's all the marbles, right? So we're looking at a heavyweight interim championship. Now, as far as I know, I had done some research on it, and they were saying that Francis Ngannou's still the champion. If you look at the rankings, Francis Ngannou still the champion. Now we keep bringing Francis Ngannou up when we're talking about Lewis and Gane, because this is the fight he was supposed to do it, but they couldn't come to an agreement to fight for him to defend. So as far as I know, this is an interim heavyweight title fight, which means meantime, whoever wins out of this fight is going to be the champion for the meantime until they can come up with some agreement, make some arrangements with Francis Ngannou. Now, with that being said, I saw an interview with Derrick Lewis, and he says that this is for the real title. I don't know if he's just saying that, because if you look at the rankings and stuff, Francis Ngannou's still on there. I haven't seen any articles or anything saying that this isn't for the interim championship. So Derrick Lewis could just be saying, hey, this is just, maybe he's telling himself this is for the real, or if he does win the title and then for some reason Ngannou doesn't come to an agreement, he could be the legitimate, heavyweight champion. So maybe that's what he meant, not too sure what he meant there, but those are Derrick Lewis's words. He said that this is for the title. This was for the title. So with that being said, this is a main event. We got Derrick Lewis coming in at number 2. We got Ciryl Gane coming in at number 3. Not too much of a difference here. These guys are both pretty close to each other, right? So this right here, beautiful matchup. You can be sure this one has KO written all over it. We have 2 heavy hitters, both throw with bad intentions. Gane, the younger of the 2, is 31, while Lewis is 36. Gane, he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. But, I mean, coming into this fight, 9-0, he's never lost. He's always so dangerous. Lewis, he's a great test for Gane. Gane was 3-0 when he came in the UFC. Now he's managed to rack up 6 wins in the last 2 years. Very impressive. Wow. Gane has a few decisions and a couple of submissions. So he isn't just standing power. He isn't just a standing powerhouse. He can grapple. Derrick will have to watch his grappling, but, he should Gane try to attempt a takedown. Derrick does have good takedown defense. I've seen good wrestlers attempt to take Derrick down and they cannot do it. So Gane has TKO'd a former UFC champion, Junior Dos Santos, which is good too, because we also know Gane got power in his hands. So the promotion most likely is hoping that they stand and bang. They want it to be fireworks. They want it to be explosives. They're going to want them to come and duke it out, right? Gane's last 2 fights were 5-round decisions. So we know Gane can last the distance should he need to. I think this is Gane's key to success here, because Derrick is too dangerous to just stand and bang with. Also, Derrick has been in deep rounds before, but he's only been to the 4th round twice. He has headlined. He has fought in 5-round fights, but he's only ever made it to the 4th. And, like I've said before, and this is not coming, from me, obviously, but from the fighters that I've seen and I've watched interviews and I've done research, all the fighters seem to say, hey, you can train for this all you want. You can train for this. You can train for that striking. You can train for 5 rounds, whatever. But until you actually get there and do it, it's just different, So I really do think that is one of Gane's key to success. I really do. I think the longer the fight goes, I think that's going to help Gane out. Derrick, He's just, he's just too dangerous to stand and bang with. So I really do think he's going to want to take him into the deep waters. That's what I think. So I really do think that, I'm sure that Lewis did train for 5 rounds, but I mean, we just don't know how they're going to handle it. I know for sure that in his camp, he's done this multiple times, and and I'm sure he's not going to gas. I've seen Lewis fight before, and he, in the 3rd and the 4th round, he does get tired. He's human, but you can't count him out. I've seen Lewis losing 3-4 rounds and then come back and win. And, so we know you can't count him out. He's got hands, right? It's been about 4 years since Derrick went to a 4th round. So that time too, he hasn't been to a 4th round. He hasn't been into those deep waters for like 4 years, for a few years. So, I mean, Gane could try to weather an early barrage of offense from Lewis, try to take him into deep rounds. Once Lewis' stamina is compromised, Gane could press his offensive striking or attempt a takedown. And at the start of the fight, Lewis will be fresh. He's great at finding a target for his best shots. So it might be dangerous for Gane to outright bang with him, at least in the beginning. Gane will have to wear Lewis out, make him miss, make him get frustrated right away, try to capitalize if Lewis gets tired. Later in the fight, Gane will have to cut Lewis off. Don't let him get his rhythm. Don't let him get his timing. If it could be a bad night for Gane if Lewis can establish jabs, establish his strikes, and because once he gets some good strikes in, that could set a foundation for Lewis to start scoring points and piecing them up. Because Lewis is a knockout specialist. Let's be real here. This man lives to stand and bang. I mean, for real. I would expect nothing less than Lewis to go in there looking for the KO right away. I would. That's what I think. He just always seems to do it. I mean, it ends early. Also, he always ends very early. So I mean, out of his last 3 fights, 2 of them ended in the 2nd round. So Lewis getting the finish. Lewis, he has very heavy hands. They're always ready for every single time this guy throws a hit. It's with the intention of ending that fight, a fight-ending hit every single time. Lewis should be prepared if Gane attempts a takedown. That would be the last thing Lewis wants. If for this fight to go to the ground, I think Gane is going to be more superior on the grappling if this fight goes to the ground. So Derrick needs to make sure that his takedown defense is on point. His takedown defense is perfect. That's what he's going to have to do for this fight, because if Gane can get him down, I really do think he's going to hold positional dominance over Derrick. I don't think Derrick might, he might not get finished, but he could. I think Gane is good enough that he could wear the round out, do some ground and pounds, be scoring points while the clock is running out, and Derrick's wasting is going to lose time. So Derrick is going to want to keep it on the feet. I'm utmost sure. Gane can hit as well. So Derrick should be using good head movement and feints to make sure Gane to not read him so easily. Derrick is a counter fighter, so it's possible for him to wait for Gane and make the first move. Derrick has a very good counter setup that has dropped a lot of his foes in the past. Every punch that Derrick throws, I mean, like I said, he's looking to end the fight. So it's not like he's thinking of Gane likely, because I don't think he's thinking of Gane likely. He is dangerous, especially in the grappling department. I think Derrick could also try to push the pace himself. Should he go that route, he'll need to set the pressure right away, cut off Gane's offense. And if Derrick cannot give Gane enough space to land shots, but give himself control and be aggressive, Gane won't be able to time him. And he won't be able to get his rhythm. So if Derrick can keep the pressure on Gane, use good head movement, Gane will have a hard time setting up his own shots. I'm just saying how Derrick might have to do it if he was rushing. I don't think so. If Derrick, he's gonna want to counter fight. Derrick has done some of his most beautiful knockouts on the back. Not saying that he can't go forward. He's big and strong. He can be aggressive if he wants to. But I've seen Derrick Lewis knock a lot of people out when he's stepping back and they think that they got him, and boom, he just comes in for the counter. They come in with the strike of their own, and then he just counters them and puts their lights out. He knows how to do it. And I do think that Gaines is the better mixed martial artist overall, but I do think that Derrick's takedown defense is going to be good. I think that he'll be able to hold up against Gane and not try to get him to the ground. Because if we keep this fight standing up, Derrick has a chance. If Gane gets it to the ground, I think it's going to be more in Gane's favor. So we're gonna see. This one's going to be a great heavyweight fight. Is Gane going to want to stand and bang with him, or is Gane going to say, forget that, I want to take him down? We'll see, because we know Lewis is going to want to hit. We know this.
Well, that concludes the main event for UFC 265. Once again, it's going to be taking place this weekend in Houston, Texas. I believe it's at the Toyota Center. It's going to be a good one. Like I said, the main event, Val just broke that down. They've got some good. We didn't really get into the preliminary, the early prelims, but we'll see what happens, right? But the main event's going to be good. Again, it's this weekend, Houston, Texas. Toyota Center. Val, before we get into the our predicting these fights, you and I, you also have some other stuff that you want to talk about. I know you want to go ahead and break some of those other fights down. Nothing that's going to be on the UFC 265, but stuff that we did.
Yeah, for sure. These fights happened. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll go ahead and break these last. I want to talk about 3 fights, because the reason why these fights are so important is because these guys are in the ranks, and all these dudes are elite fighters. I mean, these fighters that I'm fixing to talk about, they have good potential to possibly be a top contender, or they're already a top contender, or everybody is trying to get to the champion, right? We're going to start with a fight that took place last week. It was on the same night as Dillashaw versus Sandhagen, I believe. And on the main card, there was a fight between Maycee Barber and Miranda Maverick. And this one's a good one to talk about. This one sparked a lot of controversy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were buzzing. We had some people saying, oh, Maycee won. Oh, no, Maverick won, but I'm going to get into it, and then we're going to decide for ourselves, right? Because I already know what I'm thinking. Maycee Barber, her record's 9-2. Miranda Maverick 14. Miranda Maverick 11-3. That, I think those are their old ones, though. They might their record that might be changed if depending on who won. Might be the old record. But Maycee Barber, she's number 13. Miranda Maverick is 14. So since Maycee won this fight, she'll probably be looking to fight up. So Maverick, hopefully she can fight up, but probably not. She's probably gonna have to fight down. This was a good fight. Maycee Barber, want to talk about her? She's a name that's been brought up a lot. She made her UFC debut 2 years ago. She had dreams of being the youngest UFC women's champion. I'm not sure if those dreams are still possible. It's been 2 years. She did take a couple of losses or a loss, and I think that set her back some, but now she's, I do know that she had changed camp. The first camp I saw her with, she had said in an interviewer that she was going to change the camp. So I'm sure she did. If she keeps on winning, she could definitely be up there with the greats. She's a young prospect. She's pretty young. This was a good fight. I'm going to break this down just really quick. In the first 2 rounds, I want to say Maverick did do a little better. She seemed to be outscoring Barber. Their significant strikes, pretty even, total strikes altogether. Maverick took the lead. She had a higher striking volume, not too much higher, but it was. They started off trying to establish distance and range. Maverick was in the center and Barber was circling, kind of more on the counter, more on the backtrack. Barber's still throwing combos, still trying to deliver offense. She would attempt to drive down the middle, but most of the time circling. So Maverick was the one who was making her, who was walking her down a little bit more in those 2 rounds. It looked like Maverick was putting more pressure in the first and second round. She was putting more of the pace. In the second round, they're trading and attempting to go back and forth. Maverick is showing good form of control by staying in the center and continuing to press forward. Maverick gets Barber up the fence, but Barber is able to turn it around, try to grapple with Maverick. Maverick is able to power through Barber's grappling attempts. Eventually, Maverick gets Barber's back and goes for a rear naked choke at the end of the round, which is big for Maverick here because it was close second round. It was a very close. So I think her grappling, her being superior grappling in this last fight, almost threatening with that submission attempt, plus her strikes too. I think that made her win that second round because it didn't look like Barber won that second round. It looked more like that was going towards Maverick because it was so close. Because it was so close up to a second round, up into that point where the takedown was, I believe the takedown was enough for her to win that second round. Now in the third round, Barber turns it up. She was scoring enough in the striking where I think she won third round. but I don't know if they should have given it to her. I don't know if she should have won, Barber. I feel like this is kind of one of those moments where you can lose the first 2 rounds and then win the third and then win the fight. It kind of depends on how the judges are looking, because this is the tale of the story. Barber lost the 2 rounds and then she won the third, but yet she still won the fight. So a judge somewhere along the line said, hey, you know, she won that second round probably, and then obviously she won the third because that first round had to have gone to Maverick. This is a classic case of what were the judges smoking, you know, and a lot of people would know what I mean by that, because lately there's been a lot of whack judging. There's been a lot of fights where they're like, hey, you know, that wasn't the right judging. It's possible for somebody to win if they lose 2 rounds, come back in the third, but it has to be devastating. Like if you lose the first, second round, and then you come back in the third round and you just did enough to win, and yeah, maybe you won good, but that was just it. Like it has to be to where if the end of that third round, if the fight would have continued, the judges know, had that fight gone on, hey, they would have totally won. They would have submitted them. They would have knocked them out. I didn't get that with Barber. I felt like she lost the 2 rounds. I felt like she won the third, but yet they gave it to her, you know? So the judges were just kind of really impressed with that higher output that she did at the end of the fight. So they maybe weren't thinking about it on paper. You look at the fight on paper, it looked like Maverick won, but you look at the fight in person and you're like, well, obviously the judge gave it to Barber, because even though she lost the 2 rounds, had the fight gone on, he probably thought she was going to win. But in my personal opinion, I with all due respect to Maycee Barber, I do think she's a great fighter. I think she does have potential to be champion one day. I'm not saying she's not. I just think that Maverick got a little robbed that night. That caused a lot of controversy on the internet, and I just wanted to say what I thought about that.
Absolutely, and that's why we have the podcast, right? We like to bring the facts of any fight that we talk about here in the UFC, and so we're coming with the facts, and then we're giving you our opinion. This is why I feel this way, and I'm going to lay the facts down. That's awesome. That's why we have this podcast, right? Anything else you want to bring up, Val, before we make our predictions on UFC 265's main card?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about 2 more fights really fast. I'll try to, you know, to hurry. But I wanted to talk about TJ Dillashaw and Sandhagen. You know, TJ Dillashaw, he's coming back, trying to make a comeback. He is a former UFC bantamweight champion. He kind of goofed up. He kind of screwed up, right? He made a mistake. He tested positive for performance enhancers. I do not know exactly what the performance enhancer was, but I did hear that it had something to do with cardio. It wasn't like giving him strength or power, but he was taking an enhancement that makes his body have more energy, more cardio, more stamina, so he's able to go longer rounds. So in a sense, he has a step up from these other guys. He kind of, you know, cheating in a way. I guess that's just the blatant way to say it or whatever. Yeah. But so you kind of got to look at it like this. Like, you either say, hey, this guy's a cheater, don't let him come in. He already did his time, whatever. Or you could say, hey, you know, he might have cheated, but one thing that he does have going for him is that in the past couple of years, he's taken 11 drug tests and he passed them all. So we kind of can say, hey, look, you know, they gave him 2 years off. They banned him for 2 years. He did the 2 years. He already tested positive 11 times. You know, are we going to give him a break? I mean, the fans decide. I mean, you as the fans decide. With me, I'm just going to be honest here. I like Dillashaw. You know, I don't like that he was a cheater, but what made me like him, what made me respect him is his power, his fastness. When I saw TJ Dillashaw, he was knocking everybody out. He was fast. He was beating people to the punch, and he was the champion. You know, Dillashaw was the guy. You know, so I think, you know, he set really well with me up until they banned him. Then I was kind of like, but then they said, hey, he's tested positive. I mean, he tested negative now. So now it's like, oh, well, that's great. But you know, Dillashaw, he's fast. He's got good wrestling. He's got good grappling. He sets up shots. He's got knockout power. So he's not even in the rankings anymore. But yet he's able to come because of his stature, because of who he is, because of what he accomplished in the past. Despite his cheating, he said, hey, we're going to go in there and you're going to fight this guy, and he's one of the big, I think he was number 3 ranked guy or something like that. He was really high in the rankings. Sam Hagen was, and Corey Sandhagen was number 3 in the rankings, and he might have been 2, but Dillashaw is 2 now because Dillashaw beat him. So good thing with Sandhagen, even though he lost, he only went a step back. So he didn't lose too much. A lot of experts were saying, hey, just because Dillashaw came back, beat Sandhagen, which was a good fight, by the way. I mean, Sandhagen, he's got really good awkward lateral movement. I mean, he was a top contender. He's got good feints. The thing about Sandhagen, though, he's not very good at wrestling, and he admits that himself. Now, when a fighter says that themselves, you got to kind of think, man, I'm going to take his word for it, right? Dillashaw's fast. Dillashaw has good wrestling and good grappling. He showed it in the fight. And basically, just a short summary of this fight, Dillashaw was leading the walks. You know, TJ was going down the middle. He was breaking through. And this is his first fight in 2 years. He comes back to fight a number 2, 3 guy and beats him. So he's still there in the rankings. Beginning of the fight, I mean, he really is trying to break through Sandhagen's defenses. Never really is successful at doing so, but he still managed to win. And the reason why he won is because of his control, because of his aggression. He never stopped moving forward in the sense, in the way that the judges score fights is striking, grappling, control in that order. And that's what TJ won. The Sandhagen had a little bit higher striking volume than TJ, but TJ had enough control. He had enough aggression. He was leading the dance, so to say. He was leading the waltz. And that control, that aggressiveness got him the win. He was able to really shut down Sandhagen's offense too. You know, because Sandhagen was trying to knock TJ out, but TJ is durable. And in the middle of this fight, TJ got cut. So it kind of looked a little off. If somebody walked into this fight, halfway into this fight, they would say, man, TJ is losing, the other guy's winning, but that wasn't the case. I believe TJ was winning. Now, Sandhagen was mad because he said, hey, I was hitting him and I was doing everything right. This is true. He was, but he still lost. I'm gonna tell you why. He was hitting him. When TJ comes in his face and gets in that pocket and tries to look for shots, Sandhagen was meeting him with shots of his own, forcing TJ to kind of step back, recollect, but TJ would go back, never really change his game plan. TJ would just do the same thing again and again. But the fact that he was controlling him whenever he did get the grappling, whenever he did wrestle him, his grappling was way superior. He was able to maintain positional dominance over Sandhagen. And throughout the fight, TJ Dillashaw was taking Sandhagen's back throughout the fight. But the only reason why he didn't get to finish him is because his knee was compromised. This is something that I did not know when I was watching the fight. So many times TJ got his back and I was thinking, why doesn't he get the body triangle on him? Why doesn't he lock the triangle up with his legs? Why doesn't he hop up and do? He didn't do it because his knee blew out. And I didn't know this until after the fact. After the fight, TJ said, hey, my knee blew out in the first round. He said, that's why the whole fight, he was good enough to get Sandhagen's back because Sandhagen's not too good a wrestler, but yet he wasn't able to capitalize on it. So TJ was able to get himself in these dominant positions, but may not have been able to close the fight, but his aggressiveness, his control is what shut Sandhagen down. So Sandhagen says, hey, I was hitting him. I don't know why he lost. He was kind of pissed that he lost. But I'm saying that's why he lost. He lost because you never want to leave it in the hands of the judges. You can think that you did everything right, and maybe you did. I believe Sandhagen did do everything that he could have done right. But I just think that TJ's control, TJ's aggressiveness, his ability to lead the dance all throughout the fight, I think that's what got him the win there.
Wow. And is there another fight you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's one real quick I want to talk about. This one's Uriah Hall, Sean Strickland. Uriah Hall was coming in number 8. This is a middleweight bout, so that means 185 pounds. One of these guys is going to be facing Adesanya one day. Looking like it's going to be Sean Strickland. Now, Sean Strickland surprised everybody. Now, I will have to say he's probably not going to fight Adesanya yet. It's looking like he'll have to win another couple of more fights to maybe get up there with Adesanya, but he's not too far off. He's not too far off is what I'm saying. Sean defeated Uriah Hall by decision. He went the full distance, 5 rounds. And before this, they were building Uriah Hall up so bad. I kind of feel bad for this guy because they were really building him up. I mean, this guy was an elite striker. So I say was, but he is an elite striker. He still has his abilities that made him, that put a name for himself. He still has that. I just think he went up against somebody better. I think Sean was a step ahead of him this fight around. And I think that that's just what it was. I think that he came prepared, but I think Sean Strickland was just a little bit more aggressive. He was just I think he was a little bit more accurate too with his punches. And he wasn't afraid to hit first. And he wasn't afraid to establish the jab right away. And I think that's what really did it for him, because Sean was pretty much dominating this fight. You know, Sean was controlling the pace and he was establishing a great jab, which he would use to set up striking and score points. So that jab was his foundation the whole night. That jab, well, he found success off of the jab all night long. He even cut Uriah Hall's eye. And in the second round, Uriah kept trying to wipe it, kept trying to, move it or something. And Sean gave him a little confidence, because after the fight, Sean said, hey, in the second round, when he was rubbing his eye, he said, I broke my orbital bone before. Just Sean talking. And he said, so the way that he was moving, he said, I bet you I broke his orbital bone. And so I don't know for sure if he did, but that's what he was saying, that his eye was kind of messing up. So I do think, I'm not trying to make excuses for Hall, but I'm saying that I think his eye did have a little bit to do with it. I think from early in the round, because it was a 5-round fight. So I think from round 1 to 2, one of his orbital sockets probably got messed up, because I did look in round 2 like he was compromised his eye a little bit. Maybe that had something to do with it, right? But Sean, he had a higher striking volume. He also had 4 out of 6 takedowns, which added even more control. Sean was picking Hall apart on the feet, and when he did grapple, things were going his way. I mean, Sean, he wasn't able to finish Hall, but he did enough to get the nod in the decision. I mean, Hall is durable. He's resilient. I do believe he has a lot of heart. Sean was grappling way better. His grappling was superior than Hall. His striking was superior than Hall. But Hall, I never saw him really back down. I do want to say that somewhere along the fight, I do think that Hall might have quit. I think maybe he gave up somewhere along the fight, that the announcers had even said something like that. I kind of saw it too. I've seen 1,000 fights, and I know when somebody's been beat, and in that somewhere in that 3rd, 4th round, you just kind of saw Hall just kind of feel like he didn't really have it that night. But he did since then make a statement, say he's going to be back stronger than ever. So, I like Hall. I do want to see him come back, and I want to see him come back strong. But Sean Strickland was just the better man this night. He was able to maintain control over him. Sean, he was just a step ahead in this one. He was beating Hall to the punch. He was saying post-fight, he said in the post-fight, he said, I didn't even think I was going to be faster. He said, I thought Hall was going to be faster. And in the fight, he started hitting him with the jab, and he said, hey, wait a minute, this is working. I'm just going to keep doing this. And that's what Sean Strickland said himself. And so he was probably underestimated himself. He gets in there and he realizes, hey, I'm doing it. And he found success. He was able to defeat Hall. Hall was trying to get his rhythm. He was trying to get his timing, he never could. Sean proved too strong. He proved too quick. Sean was leading the waltz. He was picking up Hall. He was picking apart Hall, sorry. At some point in the fight, I do believe Hall gave up, throughout the fight, Sean would hurt Hall, but he would take him down afterwards. But that's it. Throughout the fight, Sean would hurt him, but instead of knocking him out or going in the finish, he kind of played it safe. I'm sure this is something that his corner probably told him. He was hurting Hall because Hall's dangerous. If you rock him and you come close to him, he can still hit you with that knockout power. So Sean was able to get to get the striking above him. He was able to do more advanced striking, but whenever he got him hurt, he would just choose to take him down, and his grappling was so superior that he was keeping him down. But Hall was not defeated. He wasn't trying to, he wasn't, I'm sorry, he was defeated, but he wasn't trying to be defeated is what I'm trying to say. He never got submitted is what I'm trying to say. Hall was just good enough to not get finished, but at the end of the day, it was a dominant performance. He was just a step behind, at the end, in the 5th round, it was very interesting, the corners, because the corner of Uriah Hall was saying, hey, you have 5 minutes to do this because you're losing the fight. You only have 5 rounds. You got to get it finished. So we know he's going to go for broke, right? But then in Sean's corner, the coaches were saying, okay, hey, you now that when you get him now, because they already knew that they establishes the strikes already. They knew that he could hit him now. So in the 5th round, his coaches said, hey, when you hit him and you take him down, this time finish him. Don't take him down. So they already had it up to here already. They said, hey, with that, their game plan was probably, hey, chip off the health bar. None of these shots were kill shots, but they were wearing Hall down. And that last and 5th round, we saw the same thing that we saw the whole fight. We saw the dominant performance. We saw Hall try to come back. He was trying to get shots of his own, but Strickland really cut him off. He really cut that space off. He never allowed Hall to get the space that he needed to judge his own distance, to judge his own rhythm. He never let him get it. Throughout the fight, I really don't think Hall ever established a perfect striking contact. I think Sean was piecing him up most of the time. So hopefully, Hall can come back stronger from this one, because he said this loss was tough to swallow. But on the good news for Sean Strickland, he'll be moving up. So like I said in the beginning, this performance that he did over Uriah Hall, I think he's somebody to look forward to. He's somebody that you can expect to see in the future, because this guy is crazy. He really he knows how to make a fight fun. He says that he likes violence, and what makes Sean Strickland a dangerous fighter is that he says he doesn't do this for fame or for all this stuff. He says, hey, I fight for money and I have to fight. He said if I didn't fight, he would be doing crazy stuff or like illegal stuff and stuff. So he says fighting, totally saved him. He says I want to fight for more money, and whoever I can fight, put him in front of me. They asked him about the champion. They asked him about, the tension. They asked him about the fame. He said, I don't care. I don't care whoever they're going to fight. To me, that's somebody that's dangerous. Sean Strickland, somebody to look out for.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on these guys real quick, because I know my battery's going dead. I think we can make the picks, though, before it shuts down. My battery thing, I didn't charge it up all the way. But let's see. Song, YaDong, Casey, Kenny, who do you have?
Well, since your battery's running low, I'll try to make this quick. But if Kenny can lead the dance, take control of the fight, and maybe he could have YaDong be on the retreat, be on the back step, I think he could set him up with a big shot. I think Kenny has to get the finish in the UFC. I think that's what he wants to do. I said it before. I think he hasn't got a finish yet. I think this one is going to be the one that he's going to try to do. I think he'll be looking for that finish during the fight. If Kenny can keep up the pressure, if he can keep up the pace, I think he could find a home for something big, for some big shots to get YaDong out of there. So, I'm going to predict Kenny win by TKO round 3.
I'm going Song, YaDong. Tecia, Torres, Angela Hill.
This one's going to be awesome. Yeah, for sure. Women always give really good fights. With this one, I really do think Torres is going to have to be ready to set up some counter strikes against Hill. That's what I think. I think Hill's going to come out really aggressive. Once she gets Hill's timing and will start to deliver her own offense and try to take her out the pace of the fight, or try to take over the pace of the fight. Sorry. I think that she could do it. I feel like Angelina is going to want to avenge her loss to her all those years back ago. So she's going to come out guns blazing. I think she's going to come out aggressive. However, I do think that if Torres can weather that early storm of Hill, I think if she can kind of let Hill maybe get tired, waste some of that energy, that's not easy. That's easier said than done. Hill's got amazing conditioning, amazing training. It's not an easy tactic to do, but I just say that because I believe that Hill's going to come out first. So if Torres can kind of get her counter shot set up, or if she could try to catch Hill coming in with the strike, she could probably try to catch her off guard, take her down or something. I think Torres can pull it off. I like Angelina Hill. I'm a fan of her. I feel bad that I'm not picking her, but I wish her the best, but I'm gonna have to go with Torres. I think Torres is gonna win a decision.
I'm gonna go with Torres as well. Michael Chiesa, Vincente, Luque.
Yeah, this one is gonna be great. This one's one of my favorite ones. I'm a big fan of Chiesa, big fan of Luque. I think these guys are really gonna bring it. I think Luque has a really good overall martial art skills. He's got the power, he's got the knockouts, he's got the submissions, he's got everything. But Chiesa, there's just something sneaky about the guy. There's something crafty about Chiesa. He has great skills and he does know how to set things up. So, I mean, for that reason, I'm kind of leaning towards Chiesa. I think that if Chiesa can, manage to get Luque down, he would be able to pull out one of his tricks, and go for submission. Or once he gets Luque, down, he will maintain positional dominance in the grappling department. I think that Luque does have grappling, but I feel like Chiesa might be a little bit more superior in the grappling. At least that's what I think. Luque could come out and grapple to heck, but I think Luque is going to more want to keep it on the feet. I say Chiesa is going to probably try to look for a takedown. I think that if he can really come up with something big, I think that if he can make Luque play his game, turn this into a grappling match instead of on the feet, banging it out, I think Chiesa has the edge. If he can make Luque play his game, do good superior grappling, I think Chiesa has the edge. So my prediction is Chiesa wins by submission.
I'm going Michael Chiesa as well.
Yeah.
Co-main event, Jose Aldo, Pedro, Munhoz. Who you got?
Man, this one is also my favorite fight. They're all my favorite fight. They're always gonna be my favorite fight. This one is gonna be great because we got Pedro Munhoz. They're both the same age, but Pedro Munhoz, he, I just feel like he's gonna be a little hungry. I feel like he's gonna want it. But even though I feel like he's gonna want it, I feel like Aldo, he's been there before. He's been the champion. He knows how to fight under pressure. He's had devastating losses. He's had losses to other losses, and this is a guy that doesn't like to lose. Neither of them like to lose. But Jose Aldo, I do know him coming from Brazil too. They take really good passion. They bring really good heart with them when they bring into these fights. These fights are like Super Bowls, to Jose Aldo. And I really do believe that he has a lot of passion for this and that he can try to pull it out. I think that his craftiness is going to basically take him far. If Aldo can weather the early storm of Munhoz, I think Munhoz is going to come out aggressor. I think he'll have what it takes to win this fight. Aldo has never had a problem finding a target when he wants to. Aldo will set counters up. He'll try to lead the dance himself. If Aldo does land shots on Pedro and Pedro tries to shoot, I think Aldo could defend that. Aldo will have to watch his commitment to strikes because Pedro could time it and then try to shoot for a takedown or something. I think for the most part, this fight will stay on the feet. I see some kickboxing and I think they'll duke it out. Pedro might try to take control early, but Aldo can get done what he needs to do to win. I really do think by the time the fight is over, he can do what he needs to get done. Aldo needs to watch out for Pedro's onslaught early. And then as the fight goes on, I think it'll start to turn out better for Aldo. I think as the deeper the fight goes, Aldo will start to turn in Aldo's favor. Yeah. And pretty much I really do think that both guys have excellent striking, they both have excellent conditioning, but I think Aldo can give us those sneaky striking setups, later in the fight. And I think he'll have the stamina to put a pace of his own and outscore Pedro. I think Aldo's going to win this fight by decision. I think Pedro's tough to finish. He doesn't like to lose either, but I just think Aldo's craftiness, veteranness, even though they're both the same age, I just think Aldo has more experience. I think Aldo's experience is gonna win him this fight the deeper the fight goes. I think if Pedro does have a chance, it'll be early on. I think when this fight starts going into the third round, I'm not sure if it'll be 5. Sometimes they started doing 5 rounds for co-mains recently, so maybe it'll be 5 rounds, but that's something that's fairly new. They didn't always have that for co-mains they didn't always have 5 rounds for co-mains if it wasn't a title shot. But whether this title fight, I'm not a title fight, but whether this fight is 3 rounds or what, I do see Pedro coming in early, coming aggressive, but I think Aldo's gonna, I think his experience is gonna get him the win. His sneakiness, his craftiness. I think a decision. I don't think he's gonna be able to finish him, but I think Aldo wins by decision. If he finishes him, that's cool for Aldo. But yeah,
I'm taking Aldo as well. And then the last one, the main event, Derrick Lewis, Ciryl, Gane. Who do you got?
Man, this one's gonna be awesome. This one's the biggest fight on this card, right? You know, I mean, heavyweights, you know, expect to see a Duke in and out, expect to see a banger. Somebody is going to get knocked out. If both of these dudes are still standing by the end of that 5th round, I'm going to be shocked. Okay. With that being said, I don't think it will though. I mean, that's just me. I think Derrick will look for the counter because Derrick, you know, he could try to put up aggression of his own, and he's strong and big enough to go in there and take control. But if you watch Derrick a lot, you know that he's a counter fighter. You know that Derrick likes to counter fight. You know, Gane might try to come forward first, but I think Lewis has what it takes to defeat Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane looks better overall as far as a mixed martial artist goes. But if Derrick can bring the good takedown defense and keep it standing, make Gane play into his game, make his will impose Derrick. Yeah, if Derrick can impose his will on Gane, and you know, I think he can do it. And Lewis has always been a great counter striker. So should Gane attempt to rush in, if Gane is the one that's going to want to take control and try to rush in on him, try to get the one up on him, maybe hit him with try to beat him to the punch. I think Derrick is good enough to, you know, take that step back, look for the counter, because I've seen him knock out a lot of people with that counter, right? And so yeah, so I think Lewis, you know, he's always been a good striker. So should Gane attempt to run in, I think that's what he's going to do to win. I predict Lewis will win by knockout, but I think he's going to do it in the last round. You know, Gane's a great fighter, but we've seen that passion and that durability of Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only reason why I say Gane, I'm not trying to contradict myself. The only reason why I say Gane is a better mixed martial artist is because I see, you know, he's got a submission. Yeah, he's got to take TKO. Yeah, he's went to a decision. You know, he pretty much has done it. You know, Derrick Lewis don't really have submissions. You know, he's won decision. He's won some TKOs, got some knockouts. We know he's a knockout specialist. We know this is what he's going to try to do. But so I just believe in Derrick Lewis's takedown defense. You know, I've seen some guys try to take Lewis down, and some people I've seen them get taken down before, but not really. You know, most of the time, the only person that was really grappling with Derrick Lewis was Daniel Cormier, and he was one of the best in the world. He was a two-time, not two-time, but he was a champion in 2 different divisions, I guess simultaneously, right? So what I'm trying to say is the only people to really take Lewis down are like next level elite wrestlers, such as Daniel Cormier, right? So I feel like Gane, you know, not saying he's not an elite wrestler or nothing, but his last submission was you know, it was a while back. I think that Lewis, you know, my prediction here is I think Lewis is going to get the win here. I think he's going to get the KO the last round.
That's good. I'm going to go with Gane. I think Gane will win. So we shall see what happens. This fight, once again, is this weekend in Houston, Texas, at the Toyota Center. So thank you, Val, for coming on. This was episode number 9. It'll be uploaded tomorrow for you guys that are following us. Take a look, and then we'll be back next Sunday. The fight's on Saturday, so the very next day we'll be breaking down these fights. So, Val, thank you very much for your time. This was great, man. Have a great night, man, and I will see you on Sunday. We shall see how our predictions fare, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be great. Have a good night.
Peace out.